Are you guys for another wonderful whole food plant-based success story? This is Judy. You may or may not have seen her in her initial 6-week video, but I'll link that at the end of this one if you want to catch up on some of the things that she was able to accomplish in that particular duration. But now we're going to catch up with her 6 weeks later and find out what the full 90 days has done for her in this wonderful experience that I've had the pleasure of joining her for. So I'll let Judy introduce herself. Hi, Judy.
Hi, I'm 58 years old and I've got a great big family. We're always celebrating stuff, and I happen to be the one to host that. My regular work is being a physician recruiter, and I also secondary work. I'm also a singer for casual and corporate events, um, and that helps me take care of my elderly mom. And this has been great to meet Karli. I just want you to know she's the best firsthand.
Thanks, Judy. She also lives in sunny California, very, very far from Wisconsin. But thanks to our wonderful Zoom technology, I've been able to accomplish this feat with a number of different people across the nation and as well as other nations. So that's pretty cool. So, what did your diet typically consist of prior to starting the program?
Oh, like the SAD diet, like many others, the standard American diet. But often I try different types of diets, such as the restricting your carbs, the boot camp diets, Weight Watchers. I've done quite a few of them, and I could continue on, but primarily the SAD diet.
Okay. So basically lots of high fatty plant foods like the seeds and the nuts and the coconut milk, as well as things like quinoa puffs and soy curls. And she used to use a lot of desserts like brownies and ice creams and such. So her diet's changed a little bit since then. She was trying to do whole food plant-based right before we started working together in August, but she found very soon that she was not losing anywhere near the amount of weight that she was expecting to lose. So she reached out and we are finally able to accomplish that goal. So I'll let Judy tell you more about that. Okay, Miss Judy, what was your primary motivation behind making the plant-based transition and what results were you hoping to achieve?
My primary reason was to be healthier and be around longer for the people that I love, and to inspire others to take better care of themselves, because nowadays for a lot of us is not doing that. The results that I wanted was something sustainable, because everything that I've tried in the past was not sustainable. It worked for a little bit, but I was back to eating the SAD diet. I just had all these crazy cravings. Um, I was definitely hooked on all the salty, the oily, and sugary things like many others, and what's also pushed on us through all the ads on TV and everything like that. So it's kind of hard to break it. But yes, I mean, I think I've met the goal. I believe I found the most sustainable way to make it happen now. And it's been going for me great. I feel the best that I've ever felt.
Great. And I think you brought up a wonderful point in one of our last sessions that you wanted to make sure you were not a burden on your family as you aged, right? None of us want our family members to be working additional jobs and providing for them to be taken care of by another individual because they were not as successful taking care of themselves at a younger age. So Judy was very insightful and very selfless in that aspect. But it's a very, very, very good motivation. Okay. So, what does a typical day's worth of meals look like now?
Way different. I start off now with something savory, uh, with vegetables, obviously, and beans usually. I'll top it off with microgreens. That's more recent now. I got to add the microgreens. And then lunchtime, I usually, because I have some digestive issue, I have a pouch from bariatric surgery that happened over 10 years ago. I have to, for my greens, if I can't eat all of it, what I'll do is create a green smoothie with primarily greens and a little bit of the fruits. And then for dinner, it's usually the grains and the beans. And it's hard for me to also eat raw vegetables. I have a little bit of the raw vegetables, but most of the time I would have to cook that or steam that. And of course, some potatoes as well, which I never thought was possible for most diets. But of course, they're compliant potatoes. They're not going to be fried or anything like that. So they're usually steamed or boiled. Yeah.
Oh, that's great, Judy. I'm so
Yeah.
disappointed French fries aren't on the menu.
No, it's not. And I don't even crave it. I thought I would.
Good. Okay.
Great.
So Judy brought up a seriously good point. She has a different circumstance than most people. Her stomach has actually been altered to a point where it is much smaller than it used to be. So some other alterations that she typically makes is she will cook her rice a little longer than normal because the surgeons were very adamant about her not incorporating any rice into her diet ever again. But now that Judy has healed her gut, her microflora, everything is back in it at an equilibrium. She's able to consume rice initially as overly cooked, and now it is just normally cooked. So I'm very excited for you for that. Nobody wants to miss out on all the wonderful rice varieties.
Oh, yeah, that was interesting because I hadn't eaten it for over a decade.
Like she mentioned, she does blend her salads in the morning and she'll throw a little bit of fruit in there. But for the most part, it's just to get those greens in. But she also will add some tofu to make sure that she stays satiated throughout the morning. And she tends to sip on this throughout the day. So it's not all one big gulp. It's periodically so she can make sure to fit it all in. The other thing that I noticed was that she started choosing these microgreens and the broccoli sprouts as opposed to the raw broccoli because it was very difficult to fit all this into her stomach and it was a little uncomfortable. So she was able to work around even something as complicated as a bariatric pouch. If she can do it, anybody can. Okay, Miss Judy. What noticeable changes have you experienced in your health thus far?
Well, just the feeling. I feel so much more better. I don't feel like I'm sick all the time or uncomfortable with what I've eaten. Major difference is that I'm getting more sleep. I never thought that was possible ever since I had kids. My oldest is 30. I haven't been sleeping more than 4 or 5 hours a night. Now I'm up to 6 to 8 hours, depending. But that's a big major difference for me, and it also helps me, put up with the stressors better. I mean, I wouldn't turn to food, obviously, but that, and then my clothes feel better, my fit way better. I mean, I've got to buy new clothes now. My hair is healthier, my skin is healthier, my nails aren't chipping like they used to. They used to constantly chip, and they told me that having the bariatric surgery, I would always have my nails would probably be really weak, things like that. But it's not like that anymore. It's healthier, and the surgery wasn't a cure. It's just a tool. I think I found a cure, and this was it. If I knew about this sooner, I don't think I would have tried to do that. It's just I had 5+ different things going on health wise. That was the last resort, and I went and did it. But I'm just glad I found it now. It's better late than never. And I feel that's the plus, is I feel at my best. My labs, when they take my blood pressure, my A1C, my blood sugar levels are at its best. The best readings. My doctor even said, I don't know what you're doing, but keep doing it. Over a decade. I mean, it's the best that it's been in over a decade. That speaks a lot. I mean,
Yay, Judy.
I know. I'm off.
That's amazing.
I'm off my meds too. Unfortunately, during this whole time with Karli, I had some nerve issues that stemmed from a bad car accident where I had to have spine surgery. So the only exercise that I could really do, which was pretty much nothing, was just walking and some stretching, a little bit of strengthening, but with a physical therapist. And this is what shocks me, is that I've been to boot camps where we work out like crazy 5 to 7 times a week, plus fasted cardio. And and I lost all this weight without even really exercising. This is what shocks me. So that's the truth, is that 80% of it is really what you eat. So, I mean, that's the proof. I've experienced it firsthand here, having done it now.
Judy's being very modest. She lost 27 pounds in the past 90 days. That is incredible. Congratulations, Judy. And I'm
Thank
sure she's going to continue moving forward in this direction now that she has all the proper tools and information. She is also very modest about all the different medications that she was able to completely get off of within the first couple of weeks of eating the proper foods. So she got off her diuretic, her ACE inhibitor, her calcium supplement, as well as her iron supplement. And she has consistently had a problem with iron deficiency anemia throughout her life, but this was a non-issue within 2 weeks of the program. So Judy, you are incredible. That's truly
No, I couldn't have done it without you, Karli. I didn't
truly
understand.
inspiring.
It's great. This is great.
Like you mentioned, you dramatically reduced your reliance on emotional and stress eating because
Yes.
she has regained this ability to really control her urges to go after certain highly palatable foods or just food in general when she's looking for comfort, because this woman is so overworked. She has a grandson. She is constantly at her 9 to 5, but she is also doing nighttime gigs as a singer. She's up dancing, moving around, being the MC. And then she also has to take care of her sick mother. So she's an all-purpose woman.
It's a sign of the times.
Oh, you said something in our last session that I thought was wonderful. She mentioned that she feels great off of coffee, even when she's completely overworked and depleted. So I think that speaks for itself. But she also realized recently that she really does need to put herself and her self-care first, above all other things, above all other people. Otherwise, she really isn't any good taking care of others if she is herself depleted and overworked and just exhausted from all of the obligations that she has on a regular basis. So I'm really excited for you in coming to that conclusion. I think that's really going to determine your success moving forward, is that slight mindset shift. Another important mindset shift that you mentioned recently was that you are now 100% eating for nutrition versus like flavor or any other type of comfort or stress eating. It is all about the nutrients in the food. That is her first thought when she thinks about what's for lunch. That's pretty cool, Judy.
It's way cool. I never ever thought I'd get to that point.
If you find yourself struggling with this transition or losing those excess pounds, make sure you click my link in the description box below and schedule a free 45-minute consultation with me so we can get started on your health journey. So what were some of the major challenges you took on during this transition?
For sure, the withdrawals in the beginning. I felt really, really tired. And of course, I had the cravings. But within 2 weeks, that to me was gone, which I thought it was going to go on for months because I've been hooked on all of that salt, oil, all the highly palatable foods for a long time. And my cultural food, that's pretty much what it is: salt, oil, sugar, flour. But yes, that was the challenge. And then, of course, getting all my greens in. So I'm glad we were able to figure out a way to get my 6 to 9 cups of greens in, and then figure out a way to get more raw vegetables in, or the cruciferous vegetables. Those were the challenges without hurting my pouch. And but there were ways. And then, of course, I'm not much of a cook. So when you presented menus and stuff like that, or recipes that could be altered to my taste, that was great because I didn't know where to start. I've had a lot of fails trying to do it on my own. And of course, time. Everybody is short of time nowadays. We're all going every which way. But you gave me these hacks, like from the salad hacks, where you can fix your salads for for a couple of days all at once, and soups and your chilies in the Instapot for the week all at once. That was way better than me trying to prep things every day. It's just, the beans, learning how to cook my own beans versus buying them in these cans that have sodium and even grains and things like that. I mean, just those were the challenges, is the cooking and the prepping and the time, thinking that it's going to be way expensive and it's and I won't have enough time to fix my own food, that I'd have to hire a chef of some sort, but I didn't. I'm my own chef, and I actually enjoy fixing it now. And I've been introduced to different grains because there were ones that you talked about that I never heard of, And I've been introduced to these grains that I never heard of, and I really do enjoy them now. And some spices as well. I never, and balsamics. I've always liked the balsamics, but even more so now. So it was challenging to figure out how to cook that all and keeping it, being compliant with keeping on the, my way of my lifestyle and my way of eating now. And of course, coming from a family where you're the only one doing this, that was a challenge too, and helping them understand what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, and then putting up with the comments and trying to reframe their thinking. And now, it's almost like they're shutting up because they see the difference in me, and it's not just in how I look, it's the energy level, and knowing that, oh my God, she's not working out all the time right now because I can't, but I will be because now my physical therapist released me. So these challenges are not uncommon, but most people face them, and it's possible to get through it. Karli's taught me how to intentional implementation, always have a plan, always have something ready. Of course, I travel a lot as well for my secondary work, and prepping the food in advance and figuring out ways that will keep it. So we figured out ways. So, ice chest or thermoses that hold things warm. And then having a backup plan, because at a lot of these weddings, I do get, there's a lot of Michelin and Zagat rated chefs that cook for these weddings that the band gets as well. And a lot of them, even though they'll serve me a vegan dish, there's always salt or oil or sugar in it. So I end up not eating that. I always bring my own, unless there's appetizers that are all fresh fruit and fresh raw vegetables, then that's going to be my meal. That ends up, they'll bring my meal and goes, you're just going to eat the appetizers? No, that's my meal. So, and then the things that I've fixed, I've encouraged, others, and they actually enjoy, like the chilies that Karli's taught me to make, and that the Italian type soup. They actually start eating it with me or my fruits. So it's better that than these really heavy, rich, desserts or foods or dinners that are really, really highly palatable and not good for us. So yeah, those were the challenges, but Karli always had an answer for me, and I'm practicing all of that now, and it's sustainable. It's the way I want to go. I want to do these now. First, am I going to want to do this? I definitely do. It's so worth it. We're so worth it. Don't forget that.
That's right. Okay, Judy touched on some great things that I just want to elaborate on a little bit. So she is gluten intolerant. So she was able to completely overcome all of these obstacles and succeed on a whole food plant-based diet, still being gluten-free. And as myself, I just had to learn all the different grains that are available to me that have nothing to do with wheat, rye, barley, or any of its constituents. It's so doable, and I don't want anybody to feel excluded because they are gluten-free. This diet is perfectly healthy for those individuals. She also mentioned she has these implementation intentions every time she goes out, or she is in some kind of social context, or just any situation where she's not in her own controlled environment, where she's going to need to have a plan ahead of time to make sure that she's making the healthy choice even in the moment. So some of the things that she does are Dr. Lyle's strategy of playing it through. And this is basically just thinking about exactly how your body's going to feel, how your mind is going to feel, all the different emotions you're going to go through if you do decide to go against some of your goals or some of your values and ingest some things that are fairly off plan and not in alignment with your goals. So that has been very successful for Judy, but she's also planned, like she mentioned, with the cooler, and she brings a can opener with her everywhere she goes. There's so many things that you can do to set yourself up for success with this particular diet, lifestyle, whatever you want to call it. And the last thing I want to mention is that in our last session, Judy explained that her gift to herself this Christmas season is to take care of herself. So yes, the holidays can be a huge burden on anybody that's on a quote unquote diet, or trying to make more healthful decisions or behaviors around the holidays in the US is quite challenging. So what she plans on doing for Thanksgiving and then for Christmas is to make herself something special, but within the parameters of her current diet. So she's going to maintain a healthful outlook and decision making throughout the holidays, but she's still going to be able to participate and feel like she's engaged with the crowd at the same time. So there are plenty of ways around the social aspects. I know those can get really complicated. And now she's the example for all of her friends and family, which is wonderful because she's also had plenty of influence over some of their recent dietary choices as well. How are your cravings for processed or animal foods now compared to the initial weeks on the program?
In the initial weeks, I was always thinking about, oh my gosh, am I going to get through this? Because I wanted to have something oily with some salt. And then I stopped craving them all of a sudden. I just kept staying on the way of eating, being compliant. And Karli would tell me, like, maybe you should ask yourself, is this going to harm me or is it going to help me? And then how I'm going to feel. And when I started framing my mindset like that, I obviously said, no, I don't need any, I don't even need to think about it. But when it finally ended, the really bad cravings and things like that, now all I feel, I don't crave anything. All I feel is hunger or fullness. That's it. I never in my ever thought that could ever happen for me. I get hungry, I eat good stuff, healthy stuff. I feel great even after I eat it. I don't feel sluggish or tired or sleepy anymore. And I get to eat fruit and potatoes like, most type 2 diabetics, they're told you can't really eat much of that. Oh my God, I eat that stuff and my labs are, my blood sugar, my blood pressure is normal. So it's just amazing. I mean, it works. The evidence is going to be your own self. You'll hear all these different things online or read different perspectives on nutrition, but when you actually try this, the evidence will be what happens to you and what your labs are saying and how you're feeling with meds you've been taken off of, and that you're not carrying all this fat, especially the visceral fat, which is the most dangerous. So I'm just glad and I think I'll be at my goal in next year about this time.
That's so exciting, Judy. So she actually was able to overcome her cravings by the second week on the program. This is not for everybody. I'm not going to try to give you false hope because some people, it does last several months. But the majority of my clients get over this very quickly as long as they adhere to the whole food plant-based aspect of the dietary plan. What advice would you give to somebody considering this transition to a whole food plant-based lifestyle?
Just do it, stick to it, and you'll feel the difference in a matter of time. Yes, it's not easy. This is only for the serious people that if you're really, really ready, because I've worked with those that, like I said, I've tried others that are even whole food plant-based, but Karli's the best. I mean,
oh, thank you.
There's no, she does not mess around. There's no just no oil, or just no salt. No, it's no salt, oil, sugar, flour, alcohol. Alcohol is not a problem for me because I don't drink, but all those other things were a problem. And it's not just because you have an addiction. It's because if you really are serious about getting healthy, this is it. This is the way you're going to feel the difference. You're going to see the difference. And your labs will tell you, your doctors will even be pretty surprised.
Yeah.
They won't even ask how you did it. Just say, whatever you're doing, just keep doing it. I mean,
I wish they would ask how she did it. That's not fair.
Well, I'm going to tell him how I did it. And whoever is open to listen, that's one of my jobs. My main job is recruiting physicians, and newly with hematology oncologists, these are the physicians that take care of people with cancers. And, I've talked to some already, and that's the truth. Many of them do say they start encouraging that whole food plant-based eating, and that if you don't want it to return, or if you want to prevent it, that is the best way to go. So I could keep going on and on. And
No, that's
but
wonderful, Judy. Thank you so much. You've just been a complete inspiration and a true pleasure getting to know. So I really appreciate you letting my viewers in on your journey.
yeah, so of course, I'm hoping it helps someone. So thank you, Karli, for the opportunity.
You're so welcome. Okay, hopefully Judy will stay up to date with us moving forward. But for now, we'll say goodbye, Judy.
Bye. Thank you.